Hey everyone, I'm Jenna and welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know, I run the Blog Lancer, which is all about blogging and freelancing and making money from your blog. And today I'm new to YouTube, so I thought I'd begin with talking about the question that I always get asked, how to charge for sponsored posts. Now, I have tackled this a couple of times on the blog and I'll link to those below, but I thought I would just do a quick video and share 5 different things that might help you when coming up with your pricing. The first thing I would suggest is to grab a piece of paper and to jot down everything that you can offer a brand. So we tend to group things together and talk about, our combined social following or our readers, but actually breaking it down into different channels and different skills. For example, one of my blogs is a health and food blog, so the fact that I can offer recipe development and I have a nutrition qualification is a different skill. So breaking it down into all the different things that you can offer is really, really useful. And the reason it's useful is to help with step 2. And step 2 is all about actually asking the brand, what are you actually hoping to achieve from this collaboration, or what are the key goals? And this is something I've started to do all of the time now because it helps me figure out what the brand is actually looking for. And sometimes the brand is really open, so perhaps they just kind of want people to click through to their site, and other times they might have a really specific goal such as growing their Instagram following, and therefore me spending ages trying to sell them Facebook videos and my Twitter following isn't really going to be beneficial to them. So once you know exactly kind of what the brand is looking for, you can kind of then see how it matches your skill set and kind of what you can offer. And that leads to the third point, which is all about packages. Now, those of you who are in my Facebook group will know I talk about this a lot, and I cannot underestimate how helpful it can be. And all I mean by a package is just kind of being really flexible and offering a few different approaches. So often you might have a brand that's kind of new or just trialing something, so it doesn't have much of a budget, and you might just start with perhaps one simple blog post. And then similarly, you might want a brand that you kind of work with over 2 or 3 months. So you might package up perhaps 2 blog posts, an Instagram takeover, advertising in your mailing list for a month. And by having that sliding scale, it's really, really helpful because a brand has different options. It means that it doesn't feel awkward. So if a brand says, well, to be honest, we've only got this much now, you can say, okay, perhaps we can't do all of this, but we could do this, this and this. And I think finally it means one thing that I used to do, and I'm sure other people used to do, would just kind of take what I was offered and do the same thing for different prices. So perhaps for brand A, I'd be offered this much, and brand B, I'd be offered this much, but I'd still be sharing on all my channels and I'd still be working just as hard. And I'm not saying that the low cost jobs don't matter, I'm just saying adapt and be flexible. So what you are offered can suit you. And a lot of times this can happen when a company doesn't have a budget but still really wants to work with you, and rather than just kind of saying no, you might suggest something like an Instagram stories or a mention on your YouTube video rather than a whole blog post or a whole video, and that can kind of help you come up with a compromise. So having a sliding scale and being flexible can be really, really helpful. Now, the fourth tip I was going to suggest is that actually it's not all about money, and sometimes you might just want to do something anyway because you're really passionate about something, and that's great, and that's why we blog in the first place. But kind of making that clear. So for example, I was recently sent a really lovely PR parcel with no real kind of obligation to do a blog post, but I've actually decided I'm going to film a YouTube video next using it, just because I think it will be really useful content. And going back and explaining to the brand, I might usually charge this much for this, but I've decided to do it because I was really interested and I wanted to add some value, then that's absolutely fine. Another good tip that I saw on my Facebook group was somebody suggested perhaps if you agree a special price but you usually would charge X amount, maybe mentioning on your invoice, this is my full amount but this is the discount I've applied. So that kind of makes it clear to brands of the different scale and the fact you've offered a discount that time round. The next thing I would say is definitely being open and being transparent about prices can be really, really helpful. So talking to other bloggers, and that's something I really try to encourage a lot of. So I'll link below my blogger survey Now, to be honest, I was surprised at how low some of the costs were and how low people were charging, and that just shows why it's so important, and videos like this are so important when talking about blogging and pricing. So being open and talking to others and asking others for support can be really, really helpful as well in terms of coming up with the price. I hope those tips are really, really helpful. To summarise, make a list of what you can offer. Ask the brand what they want to achieve, offer different packages in a sliding scale, be really, really flexible. Don't be afraid to go above and beyond and to do things just because you're passionate about it, but at the same time kind of make it clear to the brands they don't necessarily expect the same thing again and again. I hope that's useful. Like I say, I've linked a few things below, and this is my first YouTube video for the Blog Glancer, so please be kind and let me know if this is the kind of thing you'd like to see, if you've got any more questions, and hopefully I'll do another video next week.